All right, let's get started. The topic of our panel discussion is accelerating COVID-19 business recovery for banks with IoT analytics. Our expert panelists can share their experience, lessons learned, and best practices from working in and through the new normal landscape that is the finance industry today. So let's go ahead and meet them. First, we have Mr. Sankha Ghosh. Sankha is the Executive Vice President and Global CIO for MoneyMart Financial Services. He is responsible for technology transformation and digitalization of the enterprise. He brings over 25 years of IT leadership experience in the areas of enterprise data management, analytics, process automation, artificial intelligence and machine language, and also consumer and commercial lending platform implementations. Prior to MoneyMart, Sankha held several CIO and leadership positions at General Electric and Synchrony Financial. Our other panelist is Mr. Suman Mahalanabis. Suman leads product management for digital software and solutions within TCS, performing leadership roles in product development, solution design, consulting and delivery of analytics and customer engagement solutions, including banking, financial services, retail, communications, and smart cities. Gentlemen, welcome, and thank you for being here today.
Thank you, Doug.
In the aftermath of COVID, what role will analytics have in helping banks and financial institutions understand the changes in customers' behaviors, sentiments, and goals, and how can these organizations provide the different experiences that customers now want?
Thanks, Doug. Great question. We all know that the customer behaviors have changed during the pandemic. We have seen across all industries, we are no different, right? We see that every day at MoneyMart. Their spending habits continue to change, right? So what was true back in March or April is not now. That's how fast things have changed, right? Very few are making really big purchases or spending money on vacations or things like that, or putting things on hold, right? There is just less demand for some of our consumer lending products, right? I think that you see across the industry, right? There is less disposable income in general, right, with high levels of unemployment and things like that. But what we are seeing is, although the demand on certain products are low, the demands on some of our other products are high. Like, as I said, check cashing is a great example because of what the governments in the U.S. and Canada have done with the stimulus checks, right? You see that we are constantly sort of adjusting as we understand and identify the new trends. And then the way we are understanding and identifying the new trends is by analyzing data, right? As we are collecting data, as we are looking at transactions across days and weeks and months during this pandemic, we are able to draw some certain insights and draw some conclusions based on what we are seeing and drive some of these changes, right? So I think we must understand and engage with our customers more deeply as we are going forward, right? We need to know how they spend money, where they shop, how they shop, how frequently they shop, and what items are most important to them, and especially if we are able to get that type of data, we would be able to create products or enhance our existing products that are more meaningful to our customers during these times. Or create new products, right? So that's really what we are actually looking into. We are also looking at, and again, this is based on data, we are developing new funding and payment capabilities for our customers. It's not enough to give them one or two different ways or methods of funding or payments. We need to give them an array of things, right? So sort of a digital wallet, okay, whatever you want to use, you want to use a debit card for your funding, you want to use a bank account to get funding, or you want to use, cash to make a payment, or you want to split, So all of those capabilities we are trying to enable, and that's because the data is telling us that that's what our customers are really, really looking into. If you ask me, maybe this is, some people will disagree, but I think we will need to throw away most of what we knew about our customers pre-COVID. The whole customer 360 that we have been doing for a long time, in different industries and things like that, was determined or perfected with the data that we collected pre-COVID. And I think things have changed so drastically in the past 6.5 months that we have to just reimagine and throw away and figure out what that customer 360 really means in this world, right? And, I think we're going to see obviously new analytics requirements, new customer journeys needs to be put in place, new personas have to be created. And, that's what we are looking at Money Mart. And when we are looking at our digital capabilities, these are all the things that we are looking into. We are forming a beta group with our customers. We have engaged with them right up front, not after we deliver a product or create an application and send it to them. We are actually embedding them while we are developing, whether it's a new product, whether it's a new payment method, whether it's a new mobile app or whatever the case might be. We are having them as part of our core team. And I think that is giving us a lot of insight in terms of how they are thinking and how they would want to interact with us going forward.
Yeah, that's a great approach. I mean, having this kind of an anchor customer advisory group is a great approach. And you said the right thing. It's reimagining customer 360. That's exactly what we need to do. And I'll take just a little bit of research that we did and just talk about that experience a little bit. When COVID started and in the first 3.5 months of COVID, we started looking into Twitter, and based on the Twitter analysis, we started tracking how our customers or general consumers looking into different financial products and how were their choice of financial products changing as COVID infectivity rate grew up and then we're coming down in few economies, few countries, and then again there were second waves. So when we looked into that, we found that there were distinct transition of financial needs, financial products that we could see by different countries and economies. And that was very interesting because the common theme, if I'm to take out from that research, was that people were talking of more holistically across multiple products. People were talking of savings, of course. That became very apparent. I mean, you don't need to do Twitter analysis to know that. But along with that, there were a lot of other things about insurance, about term insurance, for example. A lot of these topics and discussions were coming up. And overall theme is people were looking into how to secure their family's financial future. That is point number one. Point number two, they were willing to look into partners in terms of banks, in terms of financial services, who are providing a more broader portfolio of products which can be centered around their financial wellness. So that was a key learning, and as we saw the infectivity rate going up or even going into the second wave, that theme became stronger and stronger. So precisely to your point, Sankha, in terms of reimagining customer 360 becomes so important because traditionally if you look into the customer 360 view or 720, a lot of people talk about that. It's a classical, very transaction-driven view based on transactions and so on, interactions and etc. But what it really needs right now is to be more behavioral. And that's where, Sankha, you talked about personas. So this is something that we do a lot through our customer intelligence and insights is how do you translate the immense amount of behavioral data that you now have? You have through your payment systems, you have through your digital channels, you have through your other social wallboards and so on. And how do you really synthesize that data to have personas or rather behavioral archetypes to be discovered from your data? Because traditionally, if you think of the concept of personas used to be more focus group discussion based, where you would try to discover who are your typical customer personas. The challenge, while that is great and that will continue to be, the challenge is can you really assign a persona to an individual customer? If you're not able to do that, then the ability to translate that knowledge of persona into meaningful action and meaningful advice or meaningful engagement with customer becomes limited. So that's where data and analytics come in play, that how can you really blend all this information from your enterprise information, from your social data, from your channel data, partner data, how do you really bring all that? And now there are increasingly wearables and so many other sensorized data that is available. How do you really synthesize all that get a behavioral understanding of your customers. And if I'm to take an example, Busy Beth, she's a working mom, 2 kids, very busy through her day of work. Now she has to manage work from home. If you really send her a long brochure, chances are she won't be able to get time to read it. But if you give a very easy experience where it's direct action, direct recommendation, and asking Beth, if you do this, this is going to add, say, X% APR on top of your, current mortgage, maybe, or reduce X% APR on your current mortgage. That is something she can act upon. Whereas if there's other personas who are more research-oriented, like say a researcher Richard, if you directly give that kind of recommendation to Richard, he won't accept because he wants to learn more. He really loves the financial domain. He does his own financial planning. So if you're able to discover such personas, the way to engage a Richard would be very different than the way you would want to engage Beth. And it's so important to understand that. And that's where you can go right or wrong with customers, right? So translating the data, discovering that persona, and then understanding what journeys they would really love to have. Like researcher Richard, example that I just took, he would love to be engaged. He would love to be really discussed about financial planning, the financial wellness, and so on. Whereas to Beth, she would like a score. She would like a direct action and something that she can act on very quickly and in a very frictionless manner be able to convert that mortgage into a differential rate term, whatever rate plan. So these are the kind of inferences and data activation that you can do applying analytics. That's very important. The other part from a behavior perspective is also about how that behavior translates into more real-time dialogue. This is something that as customers are adopting the digital channel, it's not just click and act, right? It has to be a dialogue because they would still want to have that kind of a personal touch that they had on retail channel. Of course, retail, physical and digital will go together, and we are seeing that in a lot of other industries which started digital but now going physical as well. So it's in all in true sense, it will be a phygital world, right? But across those phygital worlds, you would really want that dialogue to continue. And you would want your systems to be able to support real-time interactions where it becomes like, based on an action, you're able to give a right recommendation. You're able to guide the customer to a more secure financial future. So these are the kind of actions where we believe that the concept of personas, the concept of journeys, the ability to translate a journey into a contextual engagement to customer and translate that into a meaningful dialogue, that is the sweet spot of analytics tools.
Absolutely, Suman. I think, what we are seeing and some of what you just said is something that we are trying to leverage in the real world. We're trying to do it every day. For example, creating those personas, understanding how we build those relationships with our customers, right? And it's going to be very different. The old way of doing CRM versus new is going to be different, right? How you target them, how do you lure them to your business, your products, how do you get them excited about our company or our products is going to look very different. So we are now creating an automated campaign management system that takes kind of some of this individual customer profiles, right? And we have created some content that can be customized based on certain groups of customers, right? So we call it lookalike profiles within us, right? Okay, this profile of customers might want to interact with us this way, and this profile would want to interact with us in a certain other way, right? So we are leveraging some of that. By no means this work is done. It's a continuous process. We are learning every day, and I think when I look at the suppliers and the vendors that we work with, you're going to see that more and more, at least for me, the way I look at my suppliers, and we had started this work pre-COVID, but it's becoming even more important that creating that strong supplier ecosystem with suppliers that think strategically, like TCS, for example, would allow us to, move to that next level. So I think, I don't want to ignore suppliers like you guys and, the products that you deliver. And there are others that we work with in our companies, right? So that ecosystem of suppliers become very, very, very important because we can't do it all, right?
Absolutely. And that's so important. And one more point here, Sankha, it's really a great opportunity in a way to customers as we do. I mean, they are going through hardships, and how as a financial service institution or financial institution we can be supportive of our customers, of course, based on the understanding of their credit history, based on the understanding of how they've been in their payments and use of financial products. It's really an opportunity to really get that conversation back with the financial institutions and be a true partner in these difficult times. Where we are working with some of the customers is, for example, like if you have already a way where based on a transaction event, you know how to respond to customers, and can I really use this to predict sort of a cash flow impact for our customers? Like if there are steady withdrawals that are happening from checking or say savings account, and given that I have a knowledge of their spend and spend patterns, are we really looking into a scenario where there will be a cash flow problem for our customers? And given that knowledge, given that prediction, can we really get back to the customer with, say, an OD support or maybe a short-term sort of a cover from a cash flow deficit that they may have? So there are so many opportunities where analytics and also real-time event-driven kind of analytic architectures become so important, because this is an opportunity really to partner with customers and to be their trusted partner and provide them with the support that they need in this time of need. And I see this as a tremendous opportunity, and that's where some of the partner ecosystems, supplier ecosystems that we talked about, really putting them all together into a meaningful solution at the end of the day for customers.
Great. Those are informative and thoughtful answers and comments. Thank you both. More information is available at dss.tcs.com on these topics.